All right, Scott, let's give some love to NVS. You know why? Because they're sending down a number of sets of fins for our Chicama trip to give and allow listeners to use.
You know what? I need some quad. I need a set of quads. I was digging through. You know what happens with all my NVS fins is people come over, my son comes over, whatever. I end up like kind of peeling through my drawer and it gets mixed up. And before I know it, I'm just I don't know where my fins went. Basically, I've got a bunch of like singles that are floating around. It's kind of a mess. And I did a full audit of my NVS fins yesterday, trying to put fins in a new board, and I ended up just kind of like I don't know. I think I've given some boards away that had some fins in them, my album quads. I'm looking, I need a quad set, is what I'm saying. So
Jamin,
send me to
Jamin,
nvsfins.com and I will purchase them.
Leif, Jamin, do you hear his cry? You still have time to get him before Chicama.
Yeah. So NVS Fins, look, Leif and Jamin. Here, let me suggest this. If you're in San Diego, go to the boardroom show and meet with Leif and Jamin. They will totally dial you into the right fins for the right board, for the waves that you surf and the type of surfing that you're doing. These guys are incredibly knowledgeable about all things fins and they're great surfers. So I always like that, when I'm dealing with a shaper or a surfer who at some point in their life were great surfers. That helps.
Totally. Yeah. And they always have new things, new collaborations, new fins that they're working on. I just went to their website this morning and they had some new twin set. Let me see what it's called. The Nautilus Sunset Twin limited edition. So just keep tabs with them and there'll always be something fresh for you. And of course, these Apex Series fins, the ones I'm holding now, are guaranteed for life. So this thing is flawless condition. If you ever gets a nick or a cut or anything like that, they'll take care of it. But very likely it won't. So go to surfnvs.com. You can also find them at realwatersports.com, which is our retail partner, 1,500 surfboard inventory. I noticed they just added some Manny Caro shapes to their website this morning.
Unreal. Those Twinzers that Manny's making are beautiful.
That's what they got.
And I gotta say, as a guy who has too many surfboards, those look like surfboards that I would want to add,
Yeah.
to an overstuffed. But the Manny's just a great shaper. His wife's a great shaper. So check out the boards on Real Water Sports from Manny Caro.
Yeah. And we love, I mean, Real Water Sports has all of the national, the larger brands that you see kind of around and see the marketing videos for on the internet and the amazing pro surfing being done on it and stuff like that. But then they also invest in these kind of small relationships as well with guys like Manny, guys like Gary Linden, guys like Chris Christensen, Roger
Ryan
Hines,
Sakel.
Ryan Sakel. The list goes on and on. And
Yeah.
with a lot of those guys, they actually develop proprietary models that are only available through Real Water Sports. So lots to dig into. And they have all those videos that you can watch that'll educate you and interview the shapers too. So go check it all out on realwatersports.com.
As we see some movement at the takeoff zone, it's Kelly Slater grabbing Ray.
Yeah, guy. Yeah, guy. Welcome, David Lee Scales, Scott Bass. This is Spit, the Spit podcast. We talk all things surf. And boy, we got quite a big day here. It's Wednesday, August 13th, David. And you know what that means.
I do know what that means. What are you looking forward to today, Scott?
Macking, pumping, like borderline unpaddleable chopu, where it's
Finals day.
borderline. Huh?
Finals day too.
Well, yeah, but it's only going to be good if the waves are the stars. So,
So that's what it's looking like.
I mean, who knows? But there's an insane forecast for, pumping swell, but more will be revealed as the day progresses here. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. Next level pumping, kind of scary, um, testing the limits of the greatest surfers in the world.
On a very consequential day of surfing. So yeah, it's all teed up. I mean, it's almost nothing is certain with forecasting or the surf world, but it's all but scheduled to run today as the finals day that queues up or the finals day of the Chopu event that queues up the finals day for Cloud Break. So the final five will finally be secured on the men's side. The women's side's already been locked down because of the results earlier this week. Is it going to be bigger than day one?
I don't know. We'll see.
Come on,
I
give me a
can't sit here and
prediction.
say, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be bigger. What'd you say?
Come on, give me a prediction.
Yes, it will be. I think it will be. The thing is, it's going to be a filling in swell, right? A
Oh,
rising
okay.
swell. So I think as the day progresses, it's going to get better and better. It's not going to be one of these dying things. It's going to be on the rise. So that might mean a slightly delayed start, perhaps. I don't know what it was like last night. Was it filling in? Did it seem like it was pumping? If that's the case, it'll probably start right on time. If it was slower yesterday in the evening out there, then maybe it filled in overnight, or maybe it needs to fill in a little bit more this morning. We'll see.
I scrolled Instagram of all the dudes who were there and still in the event just to see if they were posting any clips from last night, and I didn't see anything fresh. So,
Yeah, well, we shall see. It's going to be good. I mean, what a great series of swells for this event. This is kind of what the WSL, it's a dream situation for Ryan Crosby and newly hired Brooke Ferris, who I guess starts in September as,
yeah.
I don't know, what is her role? Chief marketing or
Yep.
chief of operations or something.
CMO.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah.
well, they ran 2 days of competition already. They ran one. The first day was coming off of that almost toe swell. So it was the downside of that swell, but it was still very, very big and treacherous, some perfect waves, some really difficult waves to make. And there was phenomenal surfing. They ran the men's, I think, 3 rounds of the men's event. And then the second day, the swell had tapered down a little bit and they ran almost all of the women's event, all but the final, basically. So we have one more heat on the women's side. I got to be honest, I was a little bit questioning the decision to not run the women on day one. I thought go opening round men, opening round women, and just go back and forth. But because I was concerned that day two would just be not as contestable, smaller waves and not as many waves. But as day two played out, it played out perfectly, I think. The women had ample opportunity, and we saw, them charging basically, elevating their performances.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. No, I mean, the heat with I think it was Molly Picklum and Vahini Fierro. It was a quarterfinal heat number 3, I believe. If you get a chance to go, and if you didn't see it, replay that. Last minute heroics by Molly Picklum. Pretty unreal. It was sad. I wanted Vahini Fierro to win, but Molly Picklum is proving that she's got championship medal, and that's the kind of win that a champion, you know, manifests basically.
Totally. I think that might even have been the highest score of the event on either the men or the women's side. I want to say it was like a 987. It was in the dying moments. She needed a big score, and the wave came. And so you have all of that tension built up about will she be able to live up, you know, to this is the wave? Like, can you pull it off? Because it was a critical drop. It was like, it was not an easy wave to surf, and she surfed it flawlessly. And so Molly Picklum, I'm fully aware of her um, talent and her accolades, other events that she's won, pipe, that sort of thing. But I still, for whatever reason, am always rooting for the other person in the heat. Like I just haven't seen a lot of Molly's personality, or I think that her style of surfing is dependable, but it hasn't been like that exciting for me. But in that heat, I think she won me over because I agree with you. I was kind of rooting for Vahine, and then Molly being able to do what she does, it was just like she's undeniable. She lives up to the challenge every time. The surfing is really, you can't criticize any of it. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I kind of became that way with Gabby Bryan, actually.
Yes, me
One of the
too.
things that is a real benefit, as much as Strider being in the channel and having discourse, some of it's great, some of it is just whatever, it's filler, it isn't but look, it's a tough job. He's got, I mean, imagine just immediately like going, let's throw it over to David. David, what'd you see there? And like being able to just, like he does a commendable job because there's a lot of like on the spot, got to come up with something to say. But what my point is, though, that one of the things that I thought was really effective was watching Gabrielle Bryant go from uncomfortable at Chopu to completely comfortable at Chopu. Like we actually saw the moment where it clicked for her, and Strider was there to describe it because he heard her say that. He heard her say, "Hey, it's not that hard. Like I've got it figured out now." It was really a mental hurdle
Mm.
she had to get over, and we saw it play out. And to Strider's credit, he kind of helped to excavate that moment for us as viewers, and it really won me over, you know?
I agree. Well, I think it might have been Stace Galbraith who said in the booth, how do we figure out like the amount of waves that they're getting and the amount of time they have in the lineup with only one other person? How long would it take to get that much experience in a free surf environment? Like, they're because that day they surfed a lot. Molly, or yeah, the women who are still in it, anyways, probably surfed 3 or 4 heats that day. So they get a full 2 hours unadulterated chopu. How long would it take to get that in the real world with a crowded lineup? Is it 5 days? Is it 2 weeks? You know?
I mean, probably a little easier in Tahiti than at Pipe,
Yeah.
um, or at Cloudbreak,
So
because
Gabby,
the Tahitians are so welcoming, and there's a real hierarchy, and everyone respects.
abides.
Like
Yeah.
if you don't, you're out, So
S-
that helps.
And being able to move around the lineup without anybody else around you, just like, you're making third and fourth degree decisions when there's other people blocking and in the way. So just being able to kind of get into the position you want and figure it out, have a couple of wipeouts, get the next one right away. So the learning curve is a lot steeper or faster with that
Yeah.
scenario. And we got to see it with, to Gabby's testament, she's proven she has the talent on the surfboard. So it is just the comfort level at a given spot. So yeah, that was really exciting to see. There was a kind of controversial heat in regard to judging against Erin Brooks, and it was very close. Erin had like a mid 15-point heat total. Gabby had like I think a 16-point heat total. After I watched it in real time, I felt fine about the call. I then saw online discourse about it, so I went back yesterday and watched that heat, and I think the judges got it right. It's so negligible, the difference, that it's really hard to make a definitive argument for Erin Brooks in that scenario. I could see the argument for it, but it's not definitive. So
Yeah. I do remember kind of feeling that way too, I think, about that heat. Is that the wave where Gabby, she sort of looked a little bit off kilter
yeah,
and then found her edge and set her edge? And because she was a bit off kilter, she was right in the flat spot of the massive barrel as it heaved over rather than up high and tight, doing like you know, a pig dog type situation. She was kind of just like got to a place where she was just standing in a gaper.
yeah.
It was interesting because it's like, look, she showed. I think the argument against is, hey, she showed she kind of doesn't have control of her rail game, and she just got lucky and found herself in there. And then the argument for is like, regardless, she put herself in probably the most critical spot on the wave.
Mm. And contrast that with Erin's wave, which was a much more perfect wave, and she came out after the spit. So she had a better wave that she surfed perfectly and came out after the spit. So in one sense, you're like, oh yeah, but she was just standing there. It was kind of a perfect wave. But to your point, she put herself into that position and did it flawlessly without any hiccups. Um, I understand both sides, but I think the kind of more revealing flaw in the judging in this scenario is that we expect Erin Brooks to do what she did. And so when she does it, the score is almost tempered up against her own performances. Whereas Gabby, we did not expect it. So when she loses the rail and then recovers, it's like, wow, that's a 9-point ride because I was expecting her to get a 6 on that. So I think that is kind of more what was going on in that heat.
Yeah, I do remember watching it and kind of as the scores, before the scores had loaded, I was like, gosh, I don't think that's deserving of. I was kind of surprised, as I recall.
Yeah. Again, you got to knock out the other person if you really want to have an opinion about the judges being wrong. When it's fine, when it's that close, it's hard to argue.
You put a really fine point on something though, which is Aaron Brooks is is almost like Jerry Lopez. Like she's so good
Hmm.
that, and she makes it look pretty easy, like the way Jerry would do, like a cakewalk, So there's, and we've discussed that before with other surfers on the men's side of the draw, where we're like, well, even like with um, that simple air rotation that everybody was started doing, and we're like, okay, how many times do we got to see this goofy foot Brazilian do this before we're like, okay, it's not that hard, you know?
Yeah. Well, Erin has underperformed the potential that we put on her preseason. We're like, she's going to disrupt everything. And the reality is she's not in the top five at this point. And what I would like her to remember is this commonly happens with rookies. Like, it's just tough to find your feet on the world tour for whatever reason. Even the top level surfers who go on to win world titles have a tough time that first year. So I say no shame for Erin Brooks. She had some outstanding performances. And to your point, a level of comfort that we just don't see with very many other surfers.
Yeah, look, I mean, no shame for any of the surfers. First of all, it takes a lot of heart to paddle out at Chopu. It's easy to sit here and watch on TV. When you're in the boat and you're looking at it, and I've been out there, and it is not for the faint of heart. You don't realize how friggin' shallow it is, how clear the water is, how the reef is right in your face. It's friggin' gnarly. And especially at when it gets legit. So I think that Erin Brooks is going to be a multiple world champion. Now, there's a lot of things that could happen along the way that change things, you know, but competitively, she's got tons of chops. Like she knows how to win heats.
Yeah,
It's, like with some people, they might be experts at a location, like a draining left-hand barrel, but you don't sense that they've got the competitive chops to also go to Brazil or lowers and win, and Erin's got it all. And I think that it's really to the moon for her as far as her competitive performance.
totally agree. Um, there was three women on that day. Well, let me start by saying I think we can make an argument that this might be the best day of competitive female surfing we've ever seen because
Feels
and
like we've said that a lot within the last 3 years, like we said that at Pipe a couple of times. Go ahead.
it's good for us. It's good for the show to make bold claims like that.
Yeah.
This could be the headline that we publish the episode with.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but and I think it might have been true every time we've said it, to be perfectly honest. But
I agree.
in this scenario, what I felt like was every heat, here comes waves that are going to challenge these two competitors' own surfing ability, and they went. They went for set waves, they threw themselves over the ledge, and in most cases, they got the best waves of their lives. And so it's kind of hard to argue. It's like we're watching progression happen right in front of us. And I think they're pushing each other. Like Molly getting that wave in a free surf, I don't know that she would have pushed herself that hard or, even surfed it that well. It was the fact that she needed a big score and a world title is on the line, or first position for the world title is on the line. So that's why I felt it was the best competitive day. Most consequential waves we've ever seen the women be put in, and then also living up to the hype. And all of them, by the way.
Well, and it speaks to the power of the competitive jersey, that they're pushing their own limits because they know all eyes are on them, including sponsors, boyfriends, fathers, husbands, whoever, the entire surf world. And that's quite a spotlight. And when they live up to it, when they get out there and conquer their fears and do their deal, it's pretty amazing. Not to mention what we already mentioned, which is then they're kicking out right in front of Strider and going, "Oh my God, that was the best wave ever." We just don't get that at Cloud Break or at Pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't have that opportunity for them to kick out right into a friggin' 400, foot deep channel where there's no way it's ever going to break, and he's right there. So it's kind of cool.
Well, uh, Molly's wave was incredible. Gabby's performance was incredible, but Caitlin Simmers to me has a different level of comfort. Like she is kind of
She's toying. She seems to be toying with it
a little bit.
a
Yeah,
little bit, a little bit.
maybe not on the biggest ones. They're those are the ones where she'll pick a line and hold on, but they're all the other ones. She is kind of like kickstalling in the barrel, adjusting her stance in the barrel. She's on a different level of comfort.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Her and Erin, uh, pretty good tube riders. Of course, being backside, it allows you, I think, to display a little bit more uh, different opportunities. Like frontside just seems like, okay, go, put your hands here and stand in this fat tube. Backside, you're kind of laying back and then releasing your rail hand, and then you can stand up a little bit. There seems like there's more opportunity to dance a little bit or to show some flair rather than front side.
And a lot of surfers don't feel, the comfort to fully do that. And she certainly does.
Agreed.
So Caitlin's sitting in third, Molly's sitting in first, and they are the two finalists at this event. So it's going to be a Molly versus Caitlin again.
And is this a whoever wins she'll either retain the yellow jersey or get the yellow jersey? Is this determine who's the number one seed?
No, this Molly has 68,000 points. Caitlin has 60,000. So there's an
Okay.
8,000 point separation. The first place will get 10,000. The second place will get 78. So even the 78 isn't enough for Caitlin
Okay.
yeah, there won't be that big of a separation. But Gabby Bryan is in between them, and it looks like Caitlin will potentially leapfrog Gabby into the second spot.
Well, it does create some drama for what we're going to see at Cloudbreak.
Yeah,
I'm always anticipating, oh, if Cloud breaks 6 to 8 feet with 10-foot sats, it sure does help to be the number one seed.
of course. Yeah. And the performance out here translates.
Yeah,
Not perfectly, but it does. It's a good
it does.
primer.
It does.
And also the women's side, top five are locked in. So we have Betty Lou Sakura Johnson in fifth. We have Caroline Marks, who is outside of the top five, who jumped into the fourth place position. Currently, Caitlin's in third, Gabby's in second, Molly's in first.
Well, it's a great top five. And I'm kind of stoked on Carolyn Marks. She's a dark horse at Cloudbreak. Yeah,
For sure.
Carolyn Marks could march. I don't know if she's going to march through the field, so to speak, because the field's pretty strong, but she could easily win the whole thing.
She very well could.
Yeah, which I
She'd be a
love. I love that when the fifth place person is putting the fear in all of them. I mean, she's a gold medalist and a world champion. So,
yeah. Well, the ongoing conversation that we've been having about the separation between the legacy kind of CT surfers versus this new crop of females, I think it's pretty definitively like the jury is in. Like seeing
yeah,
Lakey Peterson out there was a huge separation between her and even Tyler Wright, to be honest,
yeah, I
between
agree.
her and then Gabby and Caitlin. Um, Caroline is right in the in between class. Caroline is like, she was the young buck up until 2 years ago. And so she really has to prove herself if she wants to be included in this younger class conversation.
Yeah,
Continue to prove
absolutely.
herself, I should say. She's already proven herself.
I totally, absolutely agree. We can put that conversation to bed. The new school has arrived, and they are now the school, not necessarily the new school. They're just the school. They're just in school. They're in class.
Completely. So Caroline Marks, though, can be included in that conversation, but she's
Yeah, you
underperformed
bring
this
up a
year.
great point. She is in this kind of muddled gray area between that crew and the older crew. And I think, she's just the elder statesman of that new crew, I think. Like I said, she could win at Cloudbreak if it's 8 feet, no
Well,
problem.
if I were her, that's the mental game that I would be self-believing in is like, I am the established known quantity out here. I have more experience at Cloudbreak. I'm going to smoke these girls. Like, you need experience out here. I've got it. They're no threat to me. I'm going to walk through them.
Love it. Yeah, good point.
So
Hey, let's take a quick break because I want to talk about some other last minute heroics.
the men's side too. Got jealous seeing your cashmere sweater. So I swapped my top for you.
Nice. Is that cashmere?
Yes, it's cashmere.
I
Come
don't
on,
think it
buddy.
is.
Are you a cashmere snob now? It's not good
I
enough
am.
cashmere for you?
I am. I am. That's silly, but I am. No,
How
I'm
do you
not.
how do you or do you dry clean yours or how do you clean it?
My,
You don't
I
clean
don't
it.
know, my wife handles that side of the equation.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sure she dry cleans them. I don't
Okay.
know.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, uh, how about Alan Cleland Jr. versus Baron Mamiya? That
Wow.
heat was insane.
Wow.
Last second heroics, last moment heroics by Alan Cleland. Seconds, really. And wow, incredible heat, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's incredible. He's a joy to have on tour, basically.
Yeah.
Unbelievable wave.
That was the heat that stood out to me in the men's draw.
Oh, really? The one that you bet money on, that you owe me on, didn't stand out to you at all?
Oh shit. Which one was that? What are you talking about? Didn't I
Felipe
bet the
to
Felipe? What?
Felipe.
What did I say?
I
What was the
think
bet? Tell the audience what the bet was.
the funny thing is we make these bets and I kind of forget the details, but if I remember correctly, it was you pay me $10 if Felipe loses. Oh no, I pay you. It was 10 to 2. Somebody pays 10. I think you pay me 10, but you bet that Felipe would make it through to the quarters, I think you said. I'm like, no, he's going to lose round one and then he's going to lose the elimination round. And so I won.
Well, interestingly, I watched that heat this morning just to go, what's going on? Like, what exactly happened? And it was horrible. And it was sad. It was
Say more.
sad.
What was horrible
I
and what
don't
was
even
sad?
care anymore. I don't even want to talk about it. I'll pay you. What do I owe you?
Let's make
10.
it 100. No, it's $10. So
I'm
I'll have
Venmoing you right now.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the tape, but I'm pretty sure that's what the bet was. So what I know you don't want to pile on Felipe, but what exactly there to me it wasn't definitive. Like I wanted that narrative to be put to rest. Either Felipe is going to prove us wrong today because the waves are on tap, or he's going to prove us right and he's going to sit on the shoulder. He did the in between. He got two waves, made some sick drops on bigger waves than I thought, and so it kind of left a little bit of a question mark where he can still say, "Hey, check out this image of me dropping." You know what I mean? But you're shaking your head no. Why not?
I mean,
Make the argument against
he
it.
picked shouldery. He just picked waves with shoulders, dropped in and kicked out.
Yeah.
Like it takes, I can do that. David, you can do that. Like we could paddle out and just look for the shoulders and find them and drop in and put a photo of myself on Instagram. The where it takes balls is when there's a gnarly line that you're looking, it's down there. You got to race from point A to point B over 6 inches of clear, crystal clear water with the mean ass reef looking at you. I don't know.
Good.
Especially when you relation to Rio's waves. Rio was the guy who picked the solid barreling waves.
Okay, so you're talking about the second heat. The first heat is the one that he got the little bit gnarlier
Oh,
waves
I
on.
didn't even see that heat. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, your point is still salient because what I was going to say is in that first heat, he got two waves, but it was all undone by what he did in the second heat against Rio. And furthermore, if you watched the entire heat play out, either of those heats, instead of just watching the two scoring waves, what you would have seen is that Felipe had priority throughout the heat, and he continually let the other two surfers go and get their scores while he had priority. So,
Uh,
so there is a huge. This is out of character for Felipe. And let me, by the way, remind you, he was in mathematical contention to get into the top five. So the argument is he was fighting for a world title. He was out in a heat where he let the other two surfers run amok. This is so far out of character for Felipe.
well, for a world champion.
For a world champion who has a title on the line, he was just letting him run amok. No defense, no strategy, and barely building up the courage to then drop into two waves. And like you said, not actually get properly barreled, like just kind of get a pocket ride on him. So wildly out of character for Felipe. Definitely does not prove. Uh, I think what it shows is that he got a little bit more comfortable here than he did at the Olympics. And at the Olympics, he got a little bit more comfortable than he did last year at Chopu. So we're seeing this kind of incremental improvement by him, but it's not enough. And it's unfortunately in heats. Like what he should have been what he should have done is been there weeks in advance, like we saw from some of the other surfers, Italo, Griffin, Joao, guys like that, and been getting comfortable out of the jersey, in the free surf, so that when you're in that, you can go for your world title. We saw him give up a world title due to a mental block.
I mean, I will say this, that heat with Giao and Leonardo, those are two tough competitors. I'm not saying you should lay down to them, but I mean, they're almost like the exact opposite of Filipe in some regards. Like those two guys are going to not only compete, not only get in your face, not only paddle to the deepest part of the reef, but once they catch the wave, they're going to perform. Um, I mean,
We at every
do
other
you agree
venue.
that like Giao and Leonardo are two of the gnarliest competitors on tour?
Yes, but at every other venue on tour, you would see him battling them, pushing them out of position. When they have priority, you'd see him sitting underneath, getting tons of small ones. So all of that we know that he does, he was not applying, regardless of them.
So I just watched Felipe's best wave of the event, which was that this heat we're talking about. It was his first ride.
Free fall drop.
Yeah, free for all drop. It almost looked like he just happened to make the drop and just
Yeah.
stand. Like, there wasn't any technique other than I made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like what you just saw prior to that, which was Jow just setting a rail, pig dogging, and just gaping through a mean section. So, whatever. I'm over Felipe's inability to live up to the moment. I want to see our champion. As you know, look, I've said forever, this is why we want Sunset Beach on tour and big waves on tour, waves of consequence on tour. So, because, our champions are guys that can meet the moment. Gary Kong Elkerton, although did he ever win a world title? I don't think he did,
No.
but I mean, guys that, you know, were
Oh,
pushed and met the moment.
while I do stand by everything we just said and the criticisms, Felipe did win Sunset in 2023.
Okay, good.
So there's that.
What
But
we meant to say was mean ass lefts.
um, the criticism still remains, though. When it really gets legit, that still is a big chink in the armor. But the reason why I think this is important to note is that Felipe has two world titles to his name, and he won them. But caveat, he won them when the format of the season and the venues on that season were different than the traditional tour. So I don't think that'll necessarily go down in history as being noted, but we are noting it. That it's like, I don't think Felipe is going to be able to win with the season weighted 1.5 at Pipeline and Pipeline as the final event and with more consequential waves on tour. You know what I mean? Like in the seasons where there was wave pools and a final stage at lowers, that's where he could win. But that's not the same anymore. So he has an opportunity here to reinvent himself and invest in those waves. But you do that by showing up early, staying late, showing up in the off season, and he hasn't shown any desire to do any of that.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the guys that got through, that elimination round. You're Marco Mignot, isn't he a rookie on tour?
Yeah,
He
and from
he got through,
Sayulita, the small wave capital of Mexico.
you know.
Yeah,
Jordy, who's really proven to have, um, met the mark regarding gnarly left barrels.
in a came down to a specific wave. Actually, it was also kind of a buzzer beater moment, and I was kind of I'd given up on him. I was like, you know, we've seen inconsistency from Jordy, and this is a moment where it's kind of going
Yeah,
to showcase again. And that
yeah,
wave came through, and he surfed it incredibly. Like,
yeah,
and when he did it, I'm like, I know Jordy can do that. I don't know why I doubted him, but I've only really seen him do it in free surf. Since you watch his videos, and he's goes Richter, crazier, better surfing than anybody on the planet in those videos. In
yeah.
that moment, in a heat, he did it again, and I thought, okay, game on for Jordy. Like this could be when he's doing his thing, nobody can touch him. So
I
please bring
agree.
this to
It's
Cloudbreak.
almost like mentally in the past, he's just psyched himself out because when he's free surfs, and so good for him. I agree with everything he said. It's so great. Unfortunately, let's see, where is he at? Come back.
He's going into the
Oh
final
my,
against Kaiuli, I
the
think.
first heat of the day today is going to be gnarly for Jordy.
Unless,
I Austin Jordy Smith.
yeah, Kaiuli Voss. He's got the hardest draw, arguably, which he should if you're going to be contending for a world title. Doesn't matter who you're up
I
against.
mean, all of these heats are pretty gnarly. The one that kind of seems, there's a couple that seem, I don't want to say easy, but if you're Jack Robinson and you drew Marco, you got to be feeling good relative to who you could have drawn. I'm not
Yeah,
taking anything away from Marco here.
true.
Um,
Italo versus Rio Waida.
it- you don't, do you think that's an easy heat? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's easy for Italo.
Yeah. Um, and then would you say Yago versus Bray is an easy heat for Yago?
Not exactly. I think that's a solid draw.
The rest of them are gnarly heats. I mean, the Leonardo, oh, it's Cole. Oh, it's not
Crosby.
Griffin, it's Crosby.
Interestingly, the Colapinto brothers on opposite sides of the draw.
Oh,
Could you
wow.
imagine that? So
Wow.
I felt the same way as you when I looked at this heat draw, and it is a reflection of the smaller tour. It's like
Yeah,
the when the opening round starts, there's I can follow all the storylines. I'm like, oh, Jordy's going for a world title. Oh my God, Marco, he's a rookie. And even though you and I follow this really, really closely, on the beginning of the tour, there's too many. I know all their stories, but I can't follow them all. They're not that important to me, you know. But like in this back half, it's so digestible, and you get to see it go down in one day. Like the other day for the women, being able to queue up the finals after one day is really exciting. Knowing what's starting at the beginning of the day, tracking it all day long, you know what the consequences are, and then boom, you have the result.
totally agree. And this draw right now with 16 surfers in it also has some great wild card stories in Kalu and Bray, in Marco. These are guys that
Totally.
you probably wouldn't have expected. Well, I mean, Kalu Vost you would, but Um, yeah, so you're right. You look at this draw and you go, wow, this is going to be a fun day of competition. Looking forward to it. And I'm only going to have to put all of today's stuff on hold relative to,
Um, So WSL, smaller is better. Smaller
yeah,
tour. That's what we like. Fewer surfers so we can follow the storylines.
top 16. Used to be the top 16 way back in the day.
So on the men's side, only two surfers are solidified and confirmed for Fiji. And those two surfers are Yago Dora and Jordy Smith. Who will be in first place going into Fiji remains to be seen, but they are at least secured in their title final five. Currently in third place, we have Italo. Currently in fourth, we have Kanoa, but Kanoa already lost in this event, so that position is up for grabs still. And Ethan Ewing is in fifth, but he has a very, very tough draw with Al Cleland Jr. here.
He
So
does.
Griffin's in sixth, Jack Robinson's in seventh, Leonardo is in ninth. He's still in contention in this event. Um, so
So if Jack moves through aggressively through this draw and Alan Cleland beats Ethan Ewing, Jack Robinson could slide in as well as Griffin.
Griffin
Same
could
story.
Griffin could get in there too.
Wow, it could be Cleland versus Griffin to see if Griffin gets in or not. That'll be interesting. We'll see. It's going to be a tough one.
Clearing the schedule today, Scott.
I know, and I have so much to do. I had a full day of stuff to do, and now I'm like, I'm gonna do stuff while I got plenty to do in front of the computer too. But
That's how Thursday was for me last week. I had a
yeah,
full roster and then, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
By the way, Nathan Hedge, tell me some stuff about Nathan Hedge. That seemed like a really great interview. I didn't listen to it, but what can I learn about Nathan Hedge? What did you learn? What's the one or two takeaways? It seems kind of like he had a rebirth regarding a stale moment and post tour, like most pro surfers. Like, what am I going to do with my life? And he's completely transformed.
it was a little more significant than the traditional story.
Mhm.
Um, when he was on tour, it was the AS, it was the Fosters, ASP World Tour. And the generation that he grew up idolizing were hard partiers. He was like, the culture on tour was who could party the latest and the hardest and still
It
win
was
tomorrow morning.
Taj and Andy and Aki, those guys. I saw, look, I'll just tell you a story when I was on the Gold Coast in like, I don't know what year it was. It might have been '06, but I randomly was in some hotel and I saw Aki and Andy and somebody else. Maybe it was Parko. I don't know. But they were shit-faced drunk. You know what I mean? Like, and just in the lobby and I was just like, what's going on here? Now, look, have I been that person? Yeah.
Well,
But was I that person before an event the next day? No.
that's what I was going to say. So that's what they look like at night. And then they're waking up and it's like that they were goading each other. They're like, I was more drunk than you and I beat you in a heat. Ha, like that was it. And
Yeah.
the other thing was Foster's ASP World Tour. When they show up to town, it's that town's week to party for the entire year.
Yeah.
Hossiger's like, oh yeah, everybody's here, let's go. And so if you're a young, good-looking, rich dude, because there was a lot of money flowing back then too, the women, like all of it, you go all out. And so Hedge was like, that's what I was doing for a long period of time. And so the other thing is, he was 13 years old when Rip Curl picked him up. They sent
Yeah.
him on a boat trip to Indo for a month for the search, where he's like with Curran and, all of his idols basically for a month at 13 years old. So he had all the potential pinned on him to be like their guy, but then goes into this environment where he's just partying all the time. And so he had some phenomenal results throughout the years and 10-point rides and all this kind of memorable stuff. But ultimately, that lifestyle obviously pulled him away from the actual surfing. And
Yeah.
so when he had all that adulation, fame, and stuff, and then is off tour with an addiction, he was working down at the docks,
What was his addiction?
well,
Oh,
drugs and alcohol, but I didn't say specifically which brand of drugs. But he ended up in recovery a number of times or in rehab a couple of times. The
yeah.
last stint was, I think, 13 years ago, and it was a 9-month stint.
Yeah.
So in that 9 months, he's just like, completely rewiring everything and much better.
Transformation.
Totally. Yeah.
Body, spirit, and mind. Complete transformation.
And the work that he was doing, it was like down on the docks, unloading cars in the middle of the night, like importing cars that would get imported on these container ships, then driving them around to the other spot. Like your major consequence because big machinery, people end up getting killed if a mistake happens, but you're also part of a team now. So you're responsible for that guy. He's responsible for you, whatever. So it was a full kind of starting from scratch thing and people recognizing him, like, hey, dude, you were on the world tour 3 years ago, So
Oh, some humility too.
tremendous.
Yeah.
And so after all of that, he comes out and he starts coaching and gets kind of reacquainted with the surf world and gets a couple of wild cards. So I don't know if you remember, but
I
2020,
do. I do remember. Yeah.
2022, he gets the outer known wild card into the Tahiti event, ends
Right.
up taking out him and Slater got Filipe. They just smoked Filipe with like 9-point rides. Then he ends up in the round of 16 against Jack Robinson, who's in peak form, and Jack has him against the wall with 2/8 with 9 minutes left to go. Hedge gets a crazy wave. Could have been a 10-point ride. I think it was like a
Yeah.
9.87 or something.
Yeah.
Then he's paddling back out. Free falls out of the sky on a second one, gets another one, gets out of combo within 2 minutes, and all of a sudden Jack's back is against the wall and he beats Jack Robinson, at
I remember
43
that.
years
That
old.
was awesome.
Yeah,
That would be a cool little mini doc,
totally.
or his whole life, really.
Yeah. So ultimately, I didn't answer your question as succinctly as I intended to, but my biggest takeaway was how sophisticated and smart he is. Like incredible, like very articulate, but
Yeah.
like sophisticated in terms of really understanding the big picture of
Yeah.
his life and his trajectory and how things fit into play and like got to the point where it's just I want to I like feeling good. Like I was chasing certain things to try to feel good, but like really when I wake up, if I make the right decisions, I feel good. And when I feel good, I perform well and amplify these great things that I'm doing. And tomorrow's even better. And so, kind of hearing him talk through it and fully understand. Um,
Yeah, I remember when I was communicating with him briefly to do the pod, an interview with him. I remember getting emails from him, and they were short and succinct, but I remember going, this guy seems really intelligent. Like they were just really like to the point, but also I felt like he was actually communicating to me, not like,
yeah,
you know,
he's, he's, he gets it and he fully understands who he is and his purpose. And he's just focused on that. There's no confusion or distraction or anything else.
I love that.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Do you know who Alan Watts is?
Refresh me. I do, but
Funny thing is, I asked the question. I'm not sure either, but I believe that well, I know he's a philosopher of some sort. He might even be Buddhist or something. I'm going to read his Wikipedia page right now.
I know his name for some reason. I'm
He was a
trying to remember.
British and American writer, speaker, and self-styled philosophical entertainer known for interpreting, popularizing Buddhist, Taoist, and Hindu philosophy for a Western audience.
Yeah.
He did some work in Berkeley and part of the Beat generation. Anyway, I've been listening to these Alan Watts, like these 20-minute Alan Watts, I guess they're soliloquies or little lectures, if you will, before I go to bed. My wife and I have been listening to them at night lately, and they're fascinating.
Hmm.
Um, I highly recommend listeners and you, David, take a little dive on YouTube into Alan Watts' world.
Okay.
And I just find it part of like what we're all trying to kind of go through is this continued quest for growth spiritually and beyond, and physically, and all of these things, right? They're all interconnected. It's not like you can't separate them. But give it a try, Alan
I'm
Watts.
in. And I like that digestible size too.
Yeah. And I've been sleeping so good. So we listen to him at night right before bed, where I would normally be reading, unfortunately. And yeah, so they're really, really good. Like I've been sleeping good because of Alan Watts lectures.
So I'm going to tell you about sleeping.
Yes.
I just shook up my drinkag1.com/surf. Scott already powered through most of his. I'm not supposed to advertise this yet, so don't consider this an advertisement, but they made AZ1.
Oh yeah.
It's a sleep aid. So I think they're going to release it next month or something. I forget what the date was, but they sent me a pack of it and I've been drinking the AZ1 like as a sleep aid before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
I sleep so freaking soundly with no grogginess. So like I wake up when I need to wake up and I'm like,
How much are you drinking?
it's just like AG1. It's just this
Oh,
little
okay.
packet you mix with water and you drink it.
I'm on this like try not to drink liquid 2 hours before I go to bed so that
Oh,
because my prostate's so large, people don't need to hear this, but they're gonna. And I mean, people have seen me. I'm constantly having to urinate. I'll just let my whole medical history be known to the world. You know, I don't know how many times a day I go, but it's a lot.
hmm.
And
So
so my
I
point is
gotcha.
that AZ1, I'm not trying to drink anything before I go to bed.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what I have found with it, one specific thing is when I do wake up in the middle of the night, whether to pee or otherwise, I can go back to sleep instantly on AZ1. Normally,
Right.
maybe sometimes I could, sometimes I couldn't, but with this, it's like just close my eyes and I'm out. And even times I'll wake up at like I need to be awake at 6:30. I'll wake up at 6 and I look at the clock. I'm like, okay, here's the test for AZ1. When I close my eyes, will I go back to sleep? And sure enough, just that 30 minutes I can go down for. So
That is crucial, man. If you wake up at 2 and something's on your mind, it's over.
yeah. But since you can't go out and get AZ1 yet, drinkag1.com/surf. It's a next gen formula. They've just reformulated the whole thing and it's
Yes.
incredible.
Yes.
Research it. Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Hey, I've got a Who Said That for you. I'm going to stump you, but before I do that, let me tell you that tickets for the boardroom show are on sale now. And one of those tickets that's available to you is the VIP, the intimate dinner, three-course meal with Eric Arakawa, our icon of foam. So these dinners are great. They sell out quickly, so get on it right away. In fact, 4 of the tickets are already sold. There's 4 left. There's 8 people, and you'll have a three-course meal at a beautiful location with wine and beer, and you'll be able to ask Eric all about his history, his legacy, the boards that he shaped, the great surfers that he shaped boards for. Ronnie Burns, Derek Ho, Michael Ho, Andy Irons, Jack Robinson, and guys right now that are, stalwarts at pipe that are ripping. So it's a great chance. Oh, and by the way, you also receive one of the shaped blanks from the Icons of Foam Shape Off honoring Eric. You get one of the finished shaped blanks from round 1. So you get a shaped blank. You will be responsible for glassing it, but you can leave with the shaped blank. And of course, this incredible dinner and a 2-day pass to the boardroom show, basically VIP, everything. And that's one of the opportunities. But tickets are on sale now at boardrooms. You can go to boardroomshow.com and just click on buy tickets.
I just booked my hotel room yesterday for the boardroom show.
Hell yeah.
Confirmed. But I want to remind or tell you, I've got a Who Said That for you as well that is directly related to the boardroom show as well. I won't tell you why until after you answer the question, though.
Okay. Who should go first?
You should.
Okay, here we go. Who said that? This is the portion of the show where I quote a famous cultural figure within the surf world, and David tries to guess who it is. So here I go. And I quote, "The other day I slammed the medicine cabinet and it swung back and it hit me in the head. I felt like I was dying, but I didn't see white light or anything. They'll give me a plate when the swelling goes down. Then I won't have to worry about getting hurt. For now, I can use this hockey helmet." Who said that, David? Was it A, Jeff Crawford, B, Chris O'Rourke, C, Jerry Lopez, or D, Reno Abalera?
I have no clue. None of that indicates one or the other for me, but I'm going to go with Jeff Crawford.
Yeah, I mean, these are surfers that you may have seen images of with either a helmet on or known head injuries, Jeff Crawford among them. But no, you're wrong. It is Chris O'Rourke, who eventually did, I think, have a plate put in his skull from really serious brain cancer.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've got a picture of him here.
Okay.
How's the lighting?
A little washed out, but that's better. Yep. Doing a big front side off the top with the helmet on.
Riding a caster.
Yeah, that's right.
Chris
Who,
O'Rourke.
who took that photo? The photographer.
Warren Bolster. That's
Okay.
a Warren Bolster. I'm glad you brought that up because it's important to give photo credit, especially to Warren. Warren Bolster, that must be probably at Wind and Sea at the Hook. And yeah, so I stumped you, I guess. It was Chris O'Rourke, my friend.
Very good. Was that related to the boardroom show, did you say?
Actually, you know what it's related to? I've been asked to moderate this surf, like something at some book fair at USD, University of San Diego is having a book fair of some sorts. And I've been asked to moderate these authors who have written or published recently surf books. One of them is this one, Wind
Oh, yeah,
and
Chris
Sea,
Ahrens.
Chris Ahrens. The other ones are that collection of surf stories that Claudia put together. Claudia,
Yeah.
that I think you interviewed her, right?
Yeah.
So she's on there. And then Todd Glazer, his book on Kelly Slater, it's a big photo coffee table book. He'll be there.
Cool.
And a couple of others. I'm not sure exactly who, but yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, I've got backstory on this, who said that, but I'm going to save the backstory until after you guess. And this came from a listener. This is listener submitted who said that specifically for you, Scott.
Oh, shit.
And he even said, "Who said that, Scott?" Pause. Who said that? And I quote, "I look at these Twinzers, and many got it wrong. There is not enough cant. Jobson ran his canards at 14 degrees, and he wanted that angle to get the right rail interaction. You can't do that with plugs, glass ends work, but glass shops and sanders don't like those angles. It's more hassle and no extra pay. Same story with Bonzers. Sanders hate them. End quote. Was this A, Larry Allison of LA Fins? Was this B, Bird Huffman? Or was it C, Chuck Ames of True Aim Fins? Or was it D, Bill Riedel of Stretch?
It was Larry Allison.
Nailed it.
Boom. Drop the mic.
So the listener said, this is a quote I pulled from my notes of the 2024 boardroom show, part of a longer piece that I started about why the average surfer should check out the boardroom show, but I never finished it. Never published it. Thank you to your diligent show preparations. Oh, I'm sorry. He said, this is Larry was inspecting the build-off Twinzer candidates with Kurt Putnam. He pulled a few people in to share his thoughts. I just happened to be standing there and I took note. By the way, after this quote, he pointed out that the boards that did have the right fin setup per his perspective. So like walking through the boards and like, this one's right, that one's right.
Well, I would love to hear which ones he thought were good. And I'd love to hear what he has to say about the winning board, which had
Yeah.
glass on Twinzers and which I thought were correct. And oh, by the way, Nick Heinrich, who built that board, studied the Jobson Twinzers, and in fact included part of Jobson's logo into his logo of his board. Like Nick was a Jobson acolyte. And I'd love to hear what Larry, Larry would have been a perfect judge. Like, why didn't I have Larry? Not that we didn't have great judges, we did, but it's so amazing. There's so many smart people at the boardroom show that just walk right past me. And I'm like, that guy looks familiar. I don't know. And these people are people that have been in the board building industry forever, like the Greg Martz types, Larry Allison, like I interviewed Mitchell Ray from Outer Island Surfboards in Australia. He was at the boardroom show. And I
Oh
had
my
no
gosh.
idea. Like I never even, he's like, yeah, I was there. Bob was, he's friends with Bob. And he, and I, and this is a guy that I ordered a surfboard from, custom surfboard in Australia when I lived there in 1988. I had Mitchell make me a board. Hadn't seen him in 30 years, probably wouldn't have recognized him, which I didn't. But I mean, my point is there's so many smart people at the boardroom show that are luminaries within the surfboard building industry that have spent 30 years in the shops surrounded by fiberglass and resin and foam that are just smarter, way smarter than me, which isn't saying much, but they know their stuff regarding building surfboards. And Larry's one of them. Larry Allison's a fabulous resource for information.
Is there a reason why you knew that quote was from him?
I actually saw it. I think it was on Instagram recently.
Oh,
You say I saw Larry. I thought I saw it somewhere, but I
okay.
think it was Larry.
Well, I wonder
Okay.
so
Yeah.
our listener's name is Dutch. I wonder if Dutch sent that quote to him or had a conversation with him because he recorded it in real time.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw it somewhere and I thought it was fascinating.
Hmm.
So I did have a leg up. What were the other choices had I not known?
Bird Huffman, Chuck Ames, or Bill Riedel from Stretch.
Yeah, it could have been any of those guys, but I probably would have chose uh, Chuck or Stretch.
Okay.
Because Stretch was around Jobson a lot, I think up in Santa Cruz. And so, he probably soaked up some info.
The reason I didn't want to, or the reason I didn't want to tell you that the quote came from the floor of the boardroom show is because Stretch wasn't there. So you would have been able to ace him out real quick.
Right.
So, but well done. Well done. Did not stump you. And thank you, Dutch, for the submission.
Stretch did one of the Santa Cruz shows. Stretch did a stint in the Shaping Bay, did a little demo for the people, and it was really great. And of course, he had the cigar going, the whole thing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like Stretch. Stretch aside, I interviewed him not that long ago, and we had a conversation about his health that I did not include in the podcast. But I was just asking him, like, dude, how can you smoke cigars all day, every day? Like, what does the doctor say? He's like, I haven't been to the doctor in 20 years. But, but he grows all of his own all of his own food, actually. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I'm a picture of health. Like even though I haven't been to the doctor to confirm that, I live my life in such a way. And the cigars are my one vice. But he's like, honestly, I'm not smoking that many. I'm chewing on a lot of them throughout the day, but I'm not smoking a ton of them. So,
Well, interestingly, and I might butcher this, and Stretch might be able to straighten it out, but Stretch's mom was a vineyard. Or how would you say that? What was she? She grew grapes. She
she owned
owned
a
a,
winery.
yeah, Sarah's Vineyard. Did you know about this?
Yep. He told me about it.
And um, I don't know, about 30 years ago, I was hanging out with Stretch's brother, Clark Riedel, also known as Beau. And Beau is an incredible grower of food. And I think he got it from his mom. And I think that's where Stretch maybe got it. I'm just assuming because I remember how bountiful Riedel's garden was with this massive tomatoes and beautiful, like everything was robust and like vibrant. It wasn't like my little crappy cherry tomatoes outside right now, which are like being eaten by bugs and stuff. This was like, good soil.
Well, look, they're living in the Fertile Crescent. You know what I mean? Like they live in California's giant. And so you live in Southern California, it's entirely different than Central California where they live. And Central California is responsible for growing, I don't know what the percentage is, but like a ridiculous percentage of food for America.
Yeah.
So the stats are out there. I just forget what they are. I think Gilroy was the area that their winery was.
Oh, garlic. That's the garlic capital of the United States.
Yeah, of the world, I believe.
Wow.
So we have just enough information to like talk about it, but we're probably wrong about some of the details. Um, Scott, before we go, uh, Stab Magazine
Oh my
advertised
God.
who their next electric acid surfboard tester is.
And Mikey February, how great is that?
Great call, dude. Great call. Stab is going from strength to strength. Now, this iteration is a little bit different than previous ones. There's more shapers than ever, 16 shapers. And also, Mikey custom ordered these boards from them. So in the past, I mean, I presume this means that Mikey knows whose boards he's riding in this experiment. Whereas in the past, of course, it was supposed to be double blind. The surfer doesn't know. And even at times, the shaper didn't know who the surfer was. So this is a scenario where he and Mike, the surfer and the shaper, have had communications, got the board custom, um, which I think I'm all for. I feel like, yeah, what's the point of doing double blind? It's okay if it's blind for us, the audience, but for the surfer and shaper to have that communication, I think you expedite or you improve the results of the surfing, basically. So I'm for it. And I think they've taken cues from little kind of hiccups in the past, and that's where this is coming from.
You know what? Hold on. And I'm going to come back with information about the Central Valley
Okay.
food production and comment on Mikey February's custom orders.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome back. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Let's see. Central Valley, 25% of the United States food, particularly fruits, nuts, and other table goods. There you go.
25%.
25%. Considering
Crazy.
all the farms in Iowa, that's a
Yeah.
lot of food.
It's a lot.
Mikey February, are you kidding me, bros? So he ordered all customs from these guys.
Yeah.
And that does, yeah, at least you're not going to get something that's like 3 inches thick because the guy's
Yeah.
like, I know in the past they did give measurement. They're like, he's 5'9", a buck 60.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
helps with thickness, at least in volume.
But look, if I think the goal originally was like, can the surfer identify the shaper? And then they realized, well, the goal should just be seeing the best surfing, getting a surfer on the best surfboards, doing the best surfing. And so
Yeah.
this allows you to get closer to that goal. Um, the other thing is the production period is so much longer. I think they used to try to get it done in one mission, and then they realized, oh, we got to do maybe a second one to get different style of waves. This is 4 months over the course of 3 countries, and they're still filming it.
Well, that's great. And I believe that there is like a kickoff event. in Palm Springs, right? I
So,
think it might be for premium members only, though.
nope, there's going to be 1,500 attendees. This is called the East Fest. So Electric Acid Surfboard Test Fest. It's the first one that they've done. It's going to be on Sunday, September 28th. You can experience uh, all of this live as one of the 1,500 attendees. And in addition to those tickets, there's going to be 80 spots available to test the boards. So premium members get first access to buying those tickets.
I was thinking about this when I saw this email, and I was like, that would be a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Everybody watching. And then those pools, I mean, you're in a fish tank, you're in a fishbowl. Like everybody's going to be watching. You're going to have all the pros, all the shapers, 1,500 stab members. And I, you know,
Yeah.
just think
Well,
about what it was like when we were at Waco. I mean, when we were at Kelly's pool.
the
It was
good
like,
news is we've been at pools since then. All the pressure, that was a lot of pressure of that. But now it's kind of to the point where you know how much pressure it is. And so you don't really judge that harshly. And if you're sitting
yeah,
on the side, wait till you're in the pool and then you'll realize.
yeah,
So a little bit of a free pass.
yeah.
But anyways, if you want to go to Stab or East Fest, you can go buy tickets. It's on September 28th. You and I will be in Chicama, Peru on the 28th, so we can't go.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Unreal Peru.
I know,
Hey,
I'm so psyched.
speaking of tubing laughs, Matahi Drollet's
Oh my
wave.
gosh.
That's got to be the greatest toe-in tube ride ever, right? I mean, that section that folds over that he somehow comes out of. Like, I'm sure he was just blinded, just going, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Like, he was completely. There was probably a foam ball 25 feet in front of him and 25 feet behind him, and he was in the middle of the vortex of it all. I think that is it too much of a stretch to say that that's the greatest toe-in tube ride ever, and probably I don't know if it'll ever be matched. If it is, it'll be by somebody else at Chopu.
Yeah, I think you could say that. Honestly, the speed that he came out with was unbelievable. Like he was so deep and behind it that I didn't think he was going to make it, but the way that he gets like shotgunned out of it would blow him off the board. Like even if he did everything right, just the sheer force would blow him off the board. And he comes out going so freaking fast. You're like, what in tarnation?
I think everything came together. Like he was in the spot on the foam ball within that spit where, like, if he had been 5 feet in front or 5 feet beyond, he probably would have, like everything came together. It was just one of those moments of the great universal spirit shining down on one of the greatest surfers at one of the greatest surf spots in the world. Like everything came together perfectly, like a letting go sort of moment.
And he's had a number of those waves every season for every year for the last 8 years. So it was kind of like a culmination of all of them and the final boss. And he lived up to it and fought it.
By the way, there's quite a few versions going around. They're all incredible. Matahe obviously saw them all and chose the one he liked the best and put it on his Instagram. So go to his Instagram, or I put it on my story, Boardroom Show story. But I think his version is probably the one where you see this section folding in front of him, and you got to have some major speed to be driving through that thing. And then at some point, like we said, it was just like, hold on and pray.
Totally. Incredible stuff. Um, well, I don't know. Is that your musty moment presented by Trees Wax?
Of course it is. Christian and the good folks at Tree Wax are going to be at the Boardroom Show. Come out, support a product that is great for the environment and just as good for sticking to your surfboard. Trees Wax, performance-based surfing wax.
Performance based and also you said great for the environment. That's because it's petroleum free. It's made out of beeswax, trees wax, rocks, limestone, stuff like that.
I love it.
And we'll save if you're not coming to the boardroom show, you can get 20% off and it's money back guarantee if you buy it online. So treeswax.com/discount/spit or just put in spit in the promo code. And then I have a musty moment presented by Trees Wax, and that's the new episode of Maps to Nowhere that dropped 2 days ago on YouTube. So this is a Surfline produced O'Neill sponsored series that they've been doing for 2 or 3 seasons now. This episode featured Ian Crane, who we know, Beau Cram, who we know slightly less, and Winter Vincent, who I knew not at all, but all O'Neill team riders and very kind of different styles of surfing. Ian Crane, the only goofy foot on the trip, and he's riding kind of fish and MR style mayhems. And then Winter riding pointy thrusters, and Beau Cram riding a variety of Chris Christensen craft, a long fish and then a short quad. So very different styles of surfing, but these are just great travel docos that are 18 minutes long. And I think it's a perfect length for something like this, where you get some surf porn element, you get some travel doc element, and they're just really, really well done.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I did see it pop up on my Surfline feed, and I'm going to go check it out. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Beau Cram, for boards that we're riding, you and I are riding, and I think a lot of our listeners are riding, where they're fuller volume but still performance oriented boards, watch his surfing to take notes. It's
Yeah,
like it's aspirational. It's like, okay, cool. You could still do a tight turn. You could still do it like a turn in the lip, but you just draw it out longer and then you go down to the bottom and you hold the line and stuff like that.
little Torn Martin vibes.
Totally. Yeah, very
Yeah.
much. So thank you to Treeswax for the must see moment. Thank you to Surfline for putting that content out. By the way, this reminds me, Surfline, I know they've vanquished the editorial team and they're really focused on forecasts and cameras again. But then they do stuff like this that is very, very good. And Stab is the only other media company doing these things, self-funding, producing, all that kind of thing. Surfline is positioned better than anybody else to pull things like this off. And I'm applauding it, supporting it. I want to see more of it. Maps to Nowhere as a series is great. Keep that going. But also, there's a lot of other things that they could be doing, given the position that they're in.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like for Maps to Nowhere, they've gone, look, we're just gonna not put anything out until we're done and ready to go and it's good, and however long it takes is however long it takes. And we'll put out less editorial, but more quality. And that's probably makes sense given the resources.
And this supports their core business. It's like
Yeah,
putting out these types of things really highlights the value of your forecasting and your cameras and all that.
yeah, it does. Have you been looking at the Chicama cam?
No, have you?
Oh God, are you kidding? I'm geeked out, man.
We got a really nice email yesterday.
Oh, that was such a great email.
Yeah,
Luke.
that Luke, a listener who grew up in northern Peru, sent us a very detailed recommendation kind of email. He's not even coming on the trip. He's like, "Hey, I'm sure you guys have plenty of resources that you can rely on, but I grew up there. Here's my thoughts on it." So that was very nice. Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, that was really great. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and in closing, let's just remind people that the ocean needs more friends. We're seeing the commercials during the WSL event for Surfrider Foundation, so glad to see that support and partnership there. But yeah, if you're not a member of Surfrider, I was talking to Chad Nelson one time, like a year ago, CEO of Surfrider, and he was like, "Here's how many members we have, and here's how many surfers there are." And there was a huge disparity. And he goes, among our members, not all of them are even surfers. So why is it that more surfers aren't supporting of the Surfrider Foundation? It's kind of crazy. If you're surfing and you're enjoying the ocean, and if you're surfing in Southern California, you may be surfing spots that they protected, that you wouldn't be surfing if Surfrider wasn't doing the work that they're doing. So become a member, support Surfrider, surfrider.org.
Absolutely. Great. Great call. All right. Well, look, David, great show. Until next time, adios and aloha.